but welcome to Gamer TV. Coming up, Tekken 5 causes Kung Fu chaos. Get behind the sofa, there's spooky goings-on in our history of the Resident Evil series.
It's game time.
While brakes screech and rubber burns in Tokka Race Driver for the PSP. But first out of the blocks, there's more sneaky shenanigans with Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Sam Fisher must be a right drag at parties. Think about it, stumbling around with his night vision on, thinking the mineral water is absinthe, throttling the host. Small wonder then that he's been permanently banished to moody terrorist haunts with a secret mission to unravel. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, or Splinter Cell 3 as enemies of meaningless subtitles call it, finds Sam on the trail of Latin arms dealers.
Thanks for the information.
Not that it matters, he could be on the trail of polar bears and you still wouldn't see them in the dark. This is the Xbox version, and while not quite as graphically impressive as the PC version, it still features extraordinary levels of detail. Along with the visuals, the biggest new feature is cooperative multiplayer where agents creep around in tandem. Fans of solo play will still relish Sam's high-tech arsenal with its electrocuting sticky shocker, shootable cameras, and optical cables for spying through doors. Understandably unwilling to muck about with a winning formula, Ubisoft have enhanced but not changed basic gameplay. This is still a title for patient sneakers, methodical workers and unrepentant killers. It's a good job too. When terrorists set off alarms in this game, they tend to get a little hysterical. What has always appealed most in this series, however, has been its sheer class, and that's still much in evidence. Darkened ships, brutal interrogations, and scary set pieces abound. Tom Clancy, as his accountant is no doubt aware, has crafted a haunting and stylish franchise. We're not sure how many more episodes we can take without a major overhaul, but for now we'll give it 4 out of 5. Oh, and one hot tip. When you're in the ship's engine room filled with gas, don't let anybody fire a gun. ...2005 has been a big year for horror fans. Not only has Resident Evil 4 crept up on us, there's also the latest offering from the folks who made Alone in the Dark, and they aren't pulling their punches. Cold Fear is a terrifying cocktail of gun-toting action horror and seasickness. Darkworks' deserted office gave little away. Monster models, level plans and storyboards are the only clues to their creepy action horror. That was until we hunted down the game's chief scaremongers.
L'histoire de Cold Fear se passe sur un garde-côte est appelé...
Cold Fear is the story of a Coast Guard called to rescue a ship caught in a storm. When he arrives on board, he discovers really weird stuff is happening. Each member of his squad gets killed, and he uncovers Russian scientists carrying out weird experiments on the ship. And those experiments haven't gone quite as planned.
Vous verrez la suite en jouant au jeu.
Something's out there.
Setting the action adrift at sea had some major implications for the gameplay.
You could regard the sea as an enemy, but it's an enemy you can tame. Once you've got used to it, you can use the ocean to your advantage. But you've got to get to know it first and learn its rules.
It was very difficult to recreate the atmosphere of the ocean. We did 3 to 4 months of research and development in order to recreate the motions of the ship. We had to find a good balance between a game that looked realistic and exciting and the fact that you should still be able to play it easily.
Et impressionnant, et en même temps, un jeu qui continue à être jouable.
The maritime setting has caused some casual observers to brand Cold Fear as Resident Evil crossed with Under Siege, but it turns out that it was a George Clooney movie that inspired Darkworks.
Le film qu'on a le plus regardé, c'est Perfect Storm.
The film we watched most was Perfect Storm because of its realism. We wanted to show that level of reality. We watched it like a documentary rather than for its storyline.
D'un point de vue narratif.
Aside from the setting, what really distinguishes Cold Fear from other horror titles is the level of action.
I don't think this game has much in common with the usual survival horror title. I reckon it's got a good balance between action and horror, which is quite a rare thing. We also added some tactical elements to the game as well. If you play Cold Fear like a normal shooting game, you'll quickly run out of bullets. So you have to use your head and play tactically.
Lansing? Oh, man.
Unfortunately, at this time of day, we can't show you the game's other distinguishing feature. It's gore.
I think that despite what people think, the gore is an element which you could interpret the wrong way. But be aware, this is only a game, and it's still meant to be fun.
From what we've seen, the good ship Cold Fear is scary enough you to need more than a life jacket and some good sea legs to get through it. Next up, like master butchers, we've selected only the primest cuts of gaming gossip and rumour in Spam Filter. Sony's PSP handheld movie catalogue will receive a shot in the arm from Lionsgate Films. They'll be releasing new movies like The Punisher and Open Water on the UMD format for use with the PSP. Further evidence that Sony want their new handheld to be the on-the-move solution. Hip-hop superstar 50 Cent will appear in his own video game later this year. He's quoted as saying, "This game will be a fantasy version of my life." Word has it, it's going to be an action title in the mould of Grand Theft Auto. Wonder if there's going to be a Britney-style dancing minigame included. Brit games developer Eidos were riding high in the early 90s with the Lara Croft and Deus Ex franchises under their wing. But delayed titles like Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness have seen the once mighty publisher fall on hard times. Rumours have been rife for months about a takeover bid, and it seems likely that a big global player will scoop Eidos up and its most popular games characters. Legendary Atari designer Nolan Bushnell and the brains behind Mario and Zelda, Shigeru Miyamoto, have been honoured with their own stars on the Walk of Game, San Francisco's equivalent of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's not just games designers who are honoured on the Walk of Game, though. Miyamoto will have to share the limelight with his creations, Link and Mario, who also received their own stars. Codemasters are preparing to launch a two-pronged handheld assault on the racing genre with their flagship motoring franchises due to screech onto the PSP this coming spring. We recently showed impressive footage from Colin Mcrae's Rally 2005, their debut title for Sony's compact Wonder console. Don't unfasten your seatbelt just yet though, because following close behind Colin will be a portable version of TOCA Race Driver 2, the ultimate driving simulator. Most of the diverse range of vehicles and events found in the PS2, Xbox and PC versions will also be present here. Developers Sumo Digital, who recently brought us the Xbox's well-received Outrun 2, have now taken on the task of squeezing TOCA's ton of motorsport action onto the PSP's compact UMD disc. This means that you'll be able to get behind the wheels of everything from the obligatory touring, rally and GT sports cars to the more unusual racing machines like super trucks and classics. Race Driver 2's interactive storyline, where you battle your peers for a place in the illustrious Masters Grand Prix, will also find a spot in the handheld version. Motion-captured cutscenes will guide you through the drama of 30 international championships, where you'll compete on 52 circuits inspired by both fantasy and real-life locations like Laguna Seca and Brands Hatch. From what we've witnessed so far, the accurate car models and handling physics seem to be intact. What's more, Landstar wireless multiplayer for up to 8 PSP Speed Demons is also on the cards. TOCA Race Driver 2 is looking like a tantalising portable package. We'll find out for sure with our imminent review. Still to come, Tekken 5 knocks us into submission.
Aiming.
Superheroes hit Bravo. I know we've got to print the Spider-Man Hercules story.
I don't like this.
New developments, Webhead swings into town.
Spider-Man. What did you expect, Peter Pan?
Classic characters, clash heads. Heavyweight Hercules hits back.
You sound pretty sure about that.
You're not going to print the story?
I'll print the story, all right. And the caption.
Spider-Man and Hercules starts Monday at 9 on Bravo.
£500. Oh, and you also get this free toy.
Thanks.
Where are your papers?
They're in the cab.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, and you also get this free toy.
Thanks.
Brewed slightly stronger for a smoother taste. Carlsberg Export. So good the Danes hate to see it leave.
Plaque is a major cause of gum disease. Fortunately, reduce the buildup of plaque compared to
How can I get the right cover at the right price?
By calling AXA PPP Healthcare right now. New customers could receive up to 3 months free cover. So for a quote that's uniquely yours, call us on 0800 169 1692.
If you're a builder, plumber, carpenter or electrician, I've got 2 words to say to you. Screwfix Direct. Call 08000 68 78 88 for a free Screwfix Direct catalogue. I did, and it saved me time, money and effort. Everything in here is top quality at rock-bottom prices, and it's 100% ex-stock. So whatever I order before 5, Screwfix Direct aim to deliver it the very next day. Here's one I ordered yesterday. Call now on free phone 08000 68 78 88. You'll be glad you did.
Bulldog, superfast broadband. Call 0800 056 4433.
Concerned about charges? Now, there is no need to worry. The Personal Injury Helpline will handle your claim with no charges and nothing taken from the money you're awarded. So, for a risk-free quality service, call us free now on 0800 085 1715. If you don't make the call, you'll never know.
You know, it helps to be posh around here, unless you own a string of polo ponies or maybe half of Yorkshire. But you don't have to be posh to be privileged. All you need is 4 years no claims, and Privilege will guarantee to beat your renewal quote. So for cheaper car insurance, call Privilege on 0845 246 0088. Or, if you're really posh, have your butler do it. Hello? Call Privilege now on 0845 246 0088 or buy online at privilege.com.
Hello, Direct Line. How can I help?
I need a loan for this fantastic car I found. Now, I've checked out my bank, but what can you do?
Let's see. You can borrow up to £25,000 for almost any purpose. And if you're looking around, you want a rate that's really smashing, with fixed repayments that never change. Our typical rate is just 5.9% APR, and you could get the loan approved in just one call.
On 0800 068 7272 now.
That's brilliant.
That's 0800 068 7272 for low-cost loan. Good thinking from Direct Line.
The House of Fraser sale starts tomorrow with huge reductions on thousands of items.
What's up, y'all? Check this out. You gotta have style.
My first impression of Matthew is that he looks like Justin Timberlake. I just kind of question his persona.
Attitude.
We're heading to Sin City last minute.
I was excited because we were going to Vegas.
And talent.
I feel so happy.
On the road to stardom with Missy Elliott on Trouble.
On the road to stardom starts Sunday at 5, exclusive to Trouble.
Get up to speed and transform your gaming experience with Blue Yonder Broadband Internet.
Welcome back to Gamer TV. Now, the baddest martial artists on the PS2 are back in Tekken 5. Like Uncle Ron, who used to work down the docks, they've been a particularly violent part of the family for some time now. It's no surprise that the muscle-bound contenders from Namco's Tekken series celebrate their 10th anniversary this year.
Fight!
What better way to commemorate a decade of bruised knuckles than by reuniting the whole gang on the PS2 for Tekken 5? After a fairly disappointing 4th edition, you might think you've had enough of this franchise. Forget that right now. Dramatic improvements have been made to this year's Iron Fist tournament.
All Phoenix, win. Round 1.
3 fresh-faced new entrants have stepped into the arena. Feng Wai is a Kempo expert with an evil streak. Raven is a ninja spy who resembles Wesley Snipes' Blade. And representing the ladies is Kazuya and Yun's daughter, Azuka Kazama. After getting acquainted with these new arrivals, you'll find they're just as formidable as the established crew. In fact, every fighter here, and that means just about everyone from Tekken history, is evenly matched. Included on the disc are arcade perfect versions of Tekkens 1, 2 and 3. Playing these predecessors again will make you go all dewy-eyed with nostalgia and remind you of how far the series has come. You'll also get the latest descendant of the Final Fight-style Tekken Force, the Devil Within, starring Jin. Even this side dish has been greatly improved over previous efforts. In terms of its stunning visuals and finely balanced gameplay, Tekken 5 has pushed the series about as far as it can go this generation, with the exception of online matches. We'll give it 4 out of 5. A real return to form for Tekken's well-loved martial artists. This pinnacle of PS2 fighting games really adds the icing to their brawler's birthday cake. In the old days, PCs had their fair share of successful motoring titles. But once those young upstart consoles became capable of powering lifelike driving simulators, PC racing pretty much ran out of gas. Despite its rather unwieldy name, Atari's GTR FIA GT Racing is hoping to reignite the PC racing genre with lovingly recreated high-octane thrills. Best dust off that USB steering wheel. FIA GT Championship Racing is a fast-growing European motorsport where teams do battle with race-prepared supercars. Developers Simbin's head honcho Henrik Roos has won the Swedish GT Championship 3 times in a row. His know-how, along with Simbin's petrol-headed passion, has resulted in the greatest racing realism possible. All of GTR's officially licensed car models certainly look the part, and that's not just on the outside. The same attention's been lavished on the interiors.
Nice driving, you're in the lead. Keep it steady.
Obsessive accuracy doesn't stop there. All the season's tracks are modelled from GPS satellite data. So from Donington to Monza, each high-speed straight and twisting chicane is spot on. If Gran Turismo's entry-level simulation is too much for you, you're in for a shot with GTR. There are forgiving arcade modes that ease you into it, but at simulation level, things get uncompromisingly lifelike. Even the smallest mistakes can write off a race. We'll give it 3 out of 5. Forget about steering this one with a keyboard. People who are after a driving title with flight sim realism will get the most from GTR. Just be careful. Resident Evil 4 is the latest and greatest survival horror game. It's nothing new, however. The roots of the Resident Evil family tree go all the way back to the first game to feature a chainsaw-wielding maniac, back in 1981. But in this game, you play the maniac. There he is. That sticking out thing is a chainsaw. Honest, that's the old dark house. And there is a helpless girl. And the aim of the game is to chase her and chop her up. Not very PC. Anyway, it's more likely to send you to sleep than keep you awake at night. There were other horror games in the early 80s, including Halloween on the Atari, which featured more homicidal blobs, and Dracula on the Commodore 64, whose ultra-scary graphics actually received an 18 certificate. These games achieved similar success to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, i.e. none. Splatterhouse in 1988 was the next step towards Resident Evil. Old dark house, check. Pair of kids seeking shelter, check. In they go, and what do you know? She gets kidnapped and he's got to strap on a hockey mask, grab a meat cleaver and go chopping. It may have been about surviving and horror, but Splatterhouse wasn't really the first in the survival horror genre. The first true survival horror appeared in 1992. Alone in the Dark put you in the shoes of a private eye who investigates, you guessed it, an old dark house. Being a portly sort of chap with a moustache, you'd have thought he'd know better, but sure enough, in come the zombies. It spawned 3 average sequels, but 4 years later, along came the big one. Resident Evil took Alone in the Dark blueprint and added prettier backdrops, scarier monsters, and dumber characters.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Not only did they take shelter in a creepy old house, but they also decided to split up.
I'll go and check.
Okay, Jill and I will stay in the hall in case of an emergency.
They're not alone for long, though, because creepy old houses always contain zombies.
When we were making Resident Evil, we thought long and hard about what it was that human beings found most scary. And we decided that the most frightening thing in the world was humans themselves.
These undead humans are not the 28 days later super speedy type either. They tend to shuffle around very slowly, giving you plenty of time to shoot them down. Or not, as the case may be. Resident Evil spawned hordes of zombie-infested children. There were tons of sequels, which usually added slight gameplay changes and a few more zombies. The game also inspired a range of creepy clones. Capcom even cloned their own game with Dino Crisis, which was Resident Evil meets Jurassic Park.
After Resident Evil, lots of similar games came out. When I made the game, people did say that I became an influence.
The best of the clones, however, were less about zombie killing and more about trouser filling. The Silent Hill series was very scary indeed. Grown men were known to gibber with fright when hearing the static that indicated approaching monsters. while Project Zero 2 was an old-fashioned ghost story that had everyone reaching for the spare pair of underpants. Or maybe that was just me. With the Resident Evil series trailing in the scary stakes, number 4 needed something more than a few extra zombies. So what did they do? Took all the zombies out. But the graphics and the gore had been turned up to 10, and there's chainsaw maniacs behind every door.
It's game time.
You've come a long way, baby. Every so often there comes along a title that looks into the face of serious gaming, blows a neat little raspberry, then runs off giggling. Well, Alien Hominid promises to be one such game, a much-lauded GameCube cartoon shooter soon to appear on the PS2 and Xbox. Many are touting it as the otherworldly stepchild of Beautiful Joe. We've played early code of the Xbox version and must say it reminds us more of the Metal Slug series, except this time the slugs are real and Martian. A boisterous little extraterrestrial has crash-landed and now must defend himself against hordes of decidedly unsympathetic FBI agents. Not content with sharp suits and dour expressions, these G-Man goons have tanks, scary freezing guns, and giant robots tucked into their trousers. Cue a massive amount of button bashing, power-ups and perfectly harmless gore. Whether Alien Hominid will pass muster in the world of surreal, frenetic shooters will depend very much on its level of charm. From what we've seen, though, it's got little to worry about. Developers Zoo Digital are promising to cram the disc with warped mini-games, sweet dispensing dragons, and most essentially of all, cooperative multiplayer. How sharing gamers will cope with bosses that vomit at you remains to be seen, however. Gaming can occasionally get too serious. If you're sick to the gills of hit points, elaborate spellbooks, or sneaking around disused oil refineries, titles like Alien Hominid may well provide the perfect antidote. It'll be out in May. Well, it's time for us to beam back up to the mothership. We'll see you next time on Gamer TV.
Sorry, I didn't mean